Welcome to Zone In Sports, your favorite spot for real talk, bold takes, and everything in the zone when it comes to sports. From hard-hitting analysis of the Miami Hurricanes football to the hottest stories across the sports world, we're bringing you that energy, passion, and a little bit of swagger, just like the U. So whether you're tailgating in the Coral Gables or arguing in the group chats or just vibing in your way to work, buckle up. You're in the zone with your host, D. Hamp.
All righty out there, everybody. How's it going today? How's it going today? How's it going today? All right, today we have a matchup of two ranked teams. Miami versus USF. It's going to be an interesting one today. Real interesting. Before we get started, if you guys didn't see earlier today, I did an interview with Don Solinger. It was a great interview, a lot of great insight into some of the old Miami culture, some of the famous players that he coached, and some of the players that's in the league. And I implore you guys to go back and listen to that and learn some stuff from his perspective. To all the USF fans that's tapping in, we're happy to have you up in here. To all the Miami fans, we are very happy to have you up in here. So we get ready to get rocking. What's up, E?
My bad. I'm getting tired up making lunch and
Hey, it's all right, bro.
looking at these games, watching Clemson and Georgia Tech do their thing.
Yeah. What's the score of that game?
13-7 Georgia Tech, and they got the ball.
All right.
Third quarter.
I was just letting these guys know today. You probably didn't get a chance to see. I did an interview with Don Solinger.
I saw that. I didn't get it.
I was imploring the guys to go over and check that out. Great.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, great insight. But we're going to dive in straight into this USF matchup here. It's an interesting matchup to me. The odds makers don't think it's an interesting matchup because I think last time I checked, Miami was a 17-point favorite.
17 and a half.
17 and a half. So in their eyes, they don't. It's difficult to understand because I looked at some of the Byron Brom stats against Boise. He was 16 for 24 for 210, no pass or touchdowns. He took 4 sacks, but he had 14 rushes for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he flipped the strip in the Florida game. He was 23 for 36 for 263 yards with 1 touchdown. But he had 17 rushes for 59 yards, no rushing touchdowns. What is your take on USF?
They're a good team. They're a scrappy team. They don't have any blue chippers, but they bought into their coach and his philosophy. They are physical on defense. They're not to be taken lightly. I don't think Miami took them lightly last year. I expect Miami to win the game, but they can't take them lightly. And this is not a trap game because the cat's been out the bag about them. So Cristobal and his staff totally respect them. They've been preparing for them. It's not like they sneaking up and coming in town, like, who are these dudes all of a sudden? They know who they are.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with last year. I personally think they're going to cover the spread. I'd be surprised if they don't cover this spread because, after watching them play Florida last week, and they played well against Florida, but Florida made a lot of mistakes in that game last week. They missed a lot of tackles. They played undisciplined. They could have won by double digits. They had some touchdown calls called back. Lagway threw a couple of touchdowns that were called back.
Right.
So I don't take nothing away from South Florida. I see their head coach possibly in a year or two moving on to a bigger program because there are going to be other schools in Division I looking for a new coach, and he just might get him a meal ticket to go on to a bigger program. This, maybe a stepping stone for him. So I just don't see them matching up with Miami in the paint. I just don't see it in the paint.
It's interesting. It's a lot of
I
buzz
heard what
around.
Nick Saban said, and I was really shocked. But Nick was really,
this morning. What tell
not
people out
even
there
this
what he
morning.
said.
A couple of days ago, he was very high up on Miami.
Well, he said today on College Countdown, I believe. Don't quote me exactly, but game day that I don't know, was it Pat McAfee said something like if USF beats them, they should be #1 in the nation, and Saban fired back and say, "Well, don't count on that." So I thought that was interesting that he said that,
like I said, they got a good team, man, and I'm not taking nothing away from them. I want to adjust my volume here.
Okay, no problem.
Very good. I got you up louder now.
Okay.
But I'm not taking anything away from this team, but it's not like they sneaking up on Miami.
Right.
And it's not like Miami don't see them coming. They've been preparing for him. I think they've been preparing for this quarterback. And I think that's good because Byron Brown is a big dude and he's a runner.
Yeah, physical too.
And if you can, this is good practice for them to see if they can control him, because if you can control him, that's going to help you in 3 weeks when you got to play against little brother's quarterback up in Tallahassee.
Castellanos up at Florida State. Yeah,
because he's a faster runner. So
yeah,
I expect a good game, but I just see Miami dominating in the trenches, man. They didn't get a lot of. The only time they got pressure on Lagway was by blitzing, and I think that would be a recipe for disaster with Carson Beck, because Carson going to have time and he makes his reads. And if the first read ain't there, he go to the second. And if the second read ain't there, there's a third. And JoJo Trader's back, and you still got Daniels, and you still got Malachi and the tight ends. I think you're going to see the tight ends get a little bit more click today.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think you're going to see Elijah Lofton and the other guy that transferred in. Oh, no. Looks like Clemson just scored on Georgia Tech. They're going to be up 14-13 here now. It's going to be a battle game. I predicted Georgia Tech to win this game, and they started out hot, but we'll see. But anyway, this should be a good game. I'm not taking nothing away from South Florida. They got a good program. And even after today, looking at their schedule, they should run the table in their conference. They'll be the one G5 team that get an invite to the playoff.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. They didn't already beat 2 ranked teams.
They've beaten 2 ranked teams. There's a lot at play, not just today, but in the coming weeks. This is a big game for Notre Dame. If they lose to A&M,
Texas A&M, right?
They lose that game to A&M, they don't have any ranked opponents left. Yeah. Unless USC goes undefeated, keeps winning, and they come to South Bend ranked on October 11th, I think is when they come up there. So we want Notre Dame to win this game.
Right.
We need Notre Dame to win this game.
Yeah.
So as far as the rankings will go,
I think Notre Dame will pull this out at home.
I think they will too. I think they're going to rebound. They had a bye week, little brothers on the bye week, and then they got a high school team next week, and then they travel to Virginia.
Right.
So, but as far as South Florida is concerned, I got a lot of respect for them. They're not trash talking. They got a good program, not no more than what they did last year. They did a little trash talking last year, and Miami beat them with a poor defense last year. They couldn't stop. They couldn't stop warding them last year.
Right.
That was the first. That's the game I said last year. I said, look at number 2 for Miami. He getting chewed up in that slot.
Yeah.
And I knew then in that game, I said, man, it was at the half, it was close. I said, Miami secondary don't look so hot.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And he signed as a free agent with the NFL team, but then he got cut.
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but I knew there were signs in that game. I said, something ain't right with this secondary. So anyway, it's different now. I think it's a different team now.
Yeah.
Different everything. Both teams are different, but Miami is different on both sides of the ball. It's nice to hear finally people saying that Miami has probably the best offensive line in the country. I've heard this on several networks now, and I thought, okay, finally. At the beginning of the season, they had Miami ranked 6th. Some people had them 7th as offensive line. Now they're saying that Miami looks like they have the best O-line in the country
Hey,
and one of the best
isn't it
defenses.
amazing when you beat somebody like on a national, well, that they
Yep.
deem on a national level,
Yep.
they want to give you respect, uh, if they would have struggled against Notre Dame, they probably wouldn't have still got that same thing, even though we knew they were we knew they was a top 5 offensive line. I thought they was the best offensive line in the country, but sometimes these national pundits, they kind of put their foot in their mouth before they see the product. You know what I'm saying? So that's on that. Looking at the matchups, Carson Beck versus Brown. Of course, I would say Carson Beck has the edge. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way on
Yeah,
that.
Brown hasn't thrown an interception. He hasn't
Right.
thrown a pick, but he hasn't thrown it that much, downfield. He's got a couple of nice receivers. But again, I think this is where Miami D-line need to, I think you're going to see less of Bain and Mesidor really rushing the edges versus setting the edges because they know he likes to run. Make him beat you through the air. They're going to spy him. Either it's going to be Motori, probably Motori more than Basaint. Maybe the guy from Mississippi State that transferred and that's playing that striker, that either fifth like nickelback or what you call that third linebacker that they call a striker. Somebody going to be spying him in case he wants to take off and run. I think now it's just gap control in the middle. The ends hold their containment versus rushing hard because he's not really a drop back type passer. If he is and ain't nothing there, what's his next move? He's going to take off and run. So to contain that, I think is crucial. I'm hoping Scott and May have good games at D tackle and just hold up in that middle. That way, if they're holding up the guards and centers, the linebackers have a good shot at bringing him down if he decides to run.
Right.
So I'm confident in the defense and offensively. Just, hey man, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah, I was looking at that more. I was thinking well, from what I've been seeing the first couple of games, even though I was at the Bethune-Cookman game, that running game is going to be key. So getting those guys, taking up chunks of yards, eating up the clock, and getting up on them early and forcing them out their element where he has to throw the ball. That's the way I look at that part. Make him have to throw the ball. And that way your guys can eat on defense. They put them in passing situations. As long as you ain't giving up big chunks of yards, you should be okay. So
I'm confident, man. They ready. They've been preparing. They've been preparing for this team. They didn't, from what I've been reading and seeing, they go hard. Mondays are off and they go hard on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday. They go really hard on purpose, and nobody's hurt. And
because Lyle coming back today, isn't he?
Lyle come back today. JoJo Trader come back today, and Armando Blunt come back today. They didn't play against
Bethune.
No, they didn't play against Bethune. So I really think today they are going to be ready to play this team.
Yeah,
they're not taking it lightly. As Cristobal been preaching that since the end of last weekend when the games were over. They're not taking South Florida lightly. They're not coming in. It's not going to be what they call it, a trap game, because it's not like, hey, they coming in, sneaking in. No. Plus, like I said, emotionally, South Florida got up big for Florida. That was a big emotional game because if Billy Napier don't blow some calls, and if his guy don't spit in his other guy's face, they walk out of there with an L. They lose that game. But undisciplined play, missed tackles, bad angles, bad coaching. Like I said, Florida should have won that game by double digits. They had a couple touchdowns called back from penalties. And they had the boys on ice till my man spit in his face. That's horrible, man. Why would you spit in somebody's face, man? That's ridiculous. I don't know how he's still on the team.
Right. Hey, well, he probably did a lot of running or something.
My ass, you cost us a game, dog. I'm gonna sit you down for a few games. That's undisciplined, man. But I was on the phone with my guys today with our little phone throw we do, and I'm like, I'm thinking, I'm hoping Florida wins tonight.
Right. Because your friend is a Florida fan for the guys that don't know out there.
Down in Miami, a big Gator fan. My other two partners in Detroit, they Michigan fans. And my other good guy here in New Mexico now, he a Florida State fan. But we all used to work in the airline business together, and we do a little thing on the phone every week, every Saturday for years. And I'm thinking if Billy Napier shit the bed tonight really bad against LSU, they might get rid of him now. You already had two boosters come up in Florida saying they're willing to buy him out. You know, the buyout is $76 million, Dwayne. And for two dudes that obviously are billionaires to come out and say, look, we'll buy him out now. They want to buy him out after last year. These cats got bread, man.
But, you know, the funny part about that, when I spoke to Coach Don today, he doesn't believe in firing coaches mid-season.
No.
I asked him about the same thing about Guthrie. You know, should Mario had let him go as bad as that defense was doing? Now, obviously, it's different from a head coach to a D coordinator or something like that. But
yeah,
you know,
I get what he's saying about that. Chances are they wouldn't fire Napier after tonight if they were to lose. I got a sneaky suspicion that I'm hoping they come out and play better, and they coach well, and they play and give LSU a game and maybe get out of there with a win.
Gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough in Death Valley, but you know, it's not saying it can't happen, but it's gonna be tough because you know I would rather. I'm not saying Miami ain't gonna beat Florida. I think Miami could beat the crap out of Florida, win or lose today, if they win or lose today. But I don't know. I got mixed feelings. Coming off a loss, you could really put the final nail in the coffin next week with them. Or they could come in like a wounded dog and they have their best game against us. Yeah. I'd rather they have you the wounded dog tonight and play their best game against LSU. And even if they lose or come up short, they're gonna be so emotionally spent that they're gonna come down to Miami next week and we curb stomp them. So but I know Miami ain't looking ahead because they've been talking about South Florida all week. So we'll let the Gators and the Tigers do their thing tonight. I just want to make sure when I'm watching that game that Miami do their thing and have they win today and handle business.
Right.
I don't care if they cover the spread or not. Just get the W.
Well, yeah, of course we don't care.
I don't care about the spread. I mean, I think they would. I think they can cover the spread. I should have went over to the Alton Bill and bought me a ticket. But
hey, the funny part I think about that, and a lot of people might agree or disagree. This is my personal opinion. I feel like sometimes these spreads they factor into the ranking sometimes. It's like when a team don't cover, sometimes you will see them kind of slip. You know, somebody's supposed to win by 20, they only win by 4. Then all of a sudden they drop in the polls, but they won the game. But, you know, they'll just come out and say, oh, well, this team struggled and whatever. And betting shouldn't have no impact on where you ranked it. But for some reason, it seemed like these odd makers.
That's Vegas for you.
You know, have some play in these national rankings. I don't know if people agree with that or not. They could put it in the chat if they do or not. But I've been seeing some crazy stuff when teams are favored by more than 2 touchdowns and only win by a field goal, and how the media perceives them. Which, you know, the ultimate goal is to win. You know, I don't care if you win by 10 or win by 3. You know, so
win the game. I don't care if it's 10-9. You still got the W.
Right. So what are you looking for from the offensive side of the ball tonight?
A mix. Some solid running. And even though they have a decent defense now. They got some couple 4-stars on their defense. And they play really well as a unit. Now, like I said, watching that game last week with Florida, some of that is attributed to Florida on offense missing some things. But they scored, you know, Lagway threw a couple nice touchdowns. Their secondary is susceptible to the same way Cam lit them up last year. Beck can light them up too. So I'm curious to see what Dawson gonna do.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they can't match up with you in the trenches. So I can run, and do I want to set up some play action? Do I want to get Elijah Lofton some? He only had one pass against Notre Dame, and I don't know if he caught anything against Bethune.
He had he caught a pass up. Yeah, he
the
did.
Other tight end got some click too.
Yeah,
against Bethune. So I think it's going to be a mix. Mix it up, because they're going to give you a game. They're not coming in here to lay down.
Right.
It's just how emotionally spent is South Florida after beating up on Boise. That was a big win the first game, and then going up to Gainesville and doing what they did up there and getting that win. That was huge for them, but that was emotionally taxing for them also. They poured a lot into that game. It took a lot. They had to dig deep to win that game because they could have very well lost that game.
And the interesting thing, some people get mad at me about this, but when you look in hindsight, that Boise game is really not surprising looking at how bad that Boise done looked this year. So that's when you start saying
10-7 at the half.
Yeah, but I'm just saying overall, they beat Boise. Then I think Boise turns around and lose next week again, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I just know
almost certain
it was 10-7 at the half, and they shut Boise out in the second half.
Let's see here.
But Boise ain't Miami.
No, oh hell no, not by four.
Miami up in the front, man.
They not by four.
People should be Miami fans should be very enthusiastic about the trenches, man. Mario done it right. I knew when Nick Saban said that last year, what he said when he came in their locker room, and he said, "Man, that's an SEC line. They even better this year." They talking about put Pancake Honcho at guard too, next to old boy that's 6'9".
Right,
so you got either side of the ball to run. Man, come on, man. These boys should eat today.
No, I stand corrected. Boise lost. They just lost to South Florida. They played Eastern Washington and won 51-14.
Yeah, they played a high school team too.
Yeah, right. It seems like a lot of that going on now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. The smaller schools want to get in there. They willing to, they know they're gonna get beat, and they willing to go ahead and go in there and still play and see how they look and get paid. I mean, Grambling went to Ohio State and got whopped.
Yeah.
But Ohio State paid them probably $750,000 to $1 million to bring their band down there because they band put a show on. Ohio State got a good band, but when they walked over to Grambling's side, and Grambling put a show on for them in the stands.
Right. So the interesting thing was, and that's the difference, because I even look at the Illinois State game, how they put up almost 77 points. But when you watch the Miami game, when I watched the Bethune-Cookman game and I was there, it seemed like they had a pact to just let the clock run, like they weren't trying to embarrass them.
That's because Mario and the coach at Bethune are good friends, and they coached together at Oregon. He was one of his assistants. I mean, I'm not going to embarrass you on TV.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, we know we got the horses to throttle you. What good is me putting up 70 points on you? Like, it makes no sense. It says what they do. I've said it all summer. Our trenches, O-line and D-line are elite, arguably the best in the country. Let's ball. That's from Mike.
Let me go check on something real quick. Yeah, you're right. They are elite. And it's nice to hear the national pundits finally admit that.
Yeah. The crazy thing about that is when they look at it, well, when I've looked at it over the last, I guess, 2 weeks, and you heard some of the pundits talk, they really talk really high on Bang. Most of them are already saying he's going to be a first rounder. Now, of course, it's a long season, but they're giving those guys a lot of respect. So that's just the interesting part of that. The offensive line, we knew what it was, so that you can't dispute that. That offensive line is a monster. They're big, they're physical, they can run the ball. They give Beck plenty of time where he can make multiple reads. So that is it's going to be tough on South Florida in the trenches, So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be kicking off in about 2 hours, so it'll be good to see. Let's see what this says here. It says no, it's a Miami 98-02 O-line. Remember, Bush Davis came back to Miami after coaching with Dallas. That Dallas O-line that blocked for Emmett is possibly the best O-line in the O-line history. Yeah, I agree. That like you said nah. I can hear you in the background yelling nah. He said, well, who is it then? All right, Aaron, we got a disagreement up here. Now, like I say, I talked to Sullinger, and he said that one offensive line was a monster. So,
man, look, you got to keep in mind one thing.
You want to read his statement again, or did you hear it? He says, no, it's Miami's 98 to 02 O-line. So he put the general in there from 98 to 02. Okay.
Well, yeah, because you got to remember something, man. Different style offenses. Rob Chudzinski was the offensive coordinator for Miami when they won their title. They ran an I formation. Dorsey was on the center. Kenny Kelly was on the center, but when Dorsey was a sophomore, they ran a lot of I with James Jackson and then Portis was a freshman and Najee. They ran a lot of I, off tackle, traps, counters, play action passes to the tight end, whether it was Bubba Franks and then Shockey and then Winslow. Mm-hmm. To me, that would still work today, but these teams today run a lot of shotgun. That's the new thing now.
Yeah.
So if you want to say this is the best Miami O-line probably since Al Golden's first year in 2011, yes. Mm-hmm. Because that was a damn good offensive line in 2011 they had when they had Lamar Miller. Mm-hmm. That was a damn good O-line, and people forget about that line they had in 20, and they went 6-6 because the defense was they switched. They had the personnel on defense. They had Olivier Vernon on that defense. Two of them guys went in the league, but the offenses are different now. So if you want to go back 25 years ago when they was running that I, no man, pick your poison. I got McKinney on this side and Rodriguez at the right tackle. Romberg at center. Yeah. They was eating.
Yeah, and lines had to be different then because you had more running teams. They were more massive. Now you need nimble guys, smaller guards. You know what I'm saying? So
if you want to say something about now, yes, this is the best Miami O-line, I would say, in my opinion, since 2011. Since 2011. If Brad Kaya would have had a line like this in 16, he would have came back for another year in 17. And I think if you would have had Brad Kaya on the 17 team that went 10-0 versus Rozier, and there's nothing against Rozier, I like Rozier. If him and Njoku would have came back with Armand Richards, that might have been the team might have put Miami either all the way there or close to it. But the O-line wasn't there. Remember, he got his tooth knocked out against Florida State. That game they lost when they missed that extra point. He hit Stacey Coley for the touchdown, and they needed the extra point to tie it. And Florida State blocked it at the end of the game, and they won 20-19.
Right.
Rick was the coach, but in that game, they knocked his fucking molar out of his mouth. You saw it. He got hit so hard, his tooth came out. And you knew, I said, where is they line? The offense. That's why he got the hell up out of there. I ain't got protection.
Yeah.
Rick didn't do what Mario doing with that line.
Yeah, inside out.
You had Stacey Coley, you had playmakers, tight end, the running back, you had everything there. Run, King. Boy, Haynes King taking a beating, boy.
Hey, I figured Clemson would pick it up a little bit, but
they got the ball now. They driving on them, but gosh darn, man, they need to help him out. But anyway, so yeah, as far as that go, this O-line in this type of offense for what Miami has had in the last 14 years, this is the best O-line they've had. This is absolutely the most elite line that Miami Hurricanes have had, I say, since the 2011 team. Because after that 2011 team, like 2 or 3 of them went pro.
Right. Yeah.
2 or 3 of them guys went pro because Lamar Miller was eating, man. They had no problem scoring that year. You had Benjamin and you had Lamar and you had what's name at tight end. They had some players on offense that year. They had it.
Right.
They had it, and they were still playing a lot of shot under center. Jacory got under center a lot.
Right.
I forgot who the coordinator was.
Oh, Jacory, boy, yeah.
I want to say it was Whipple was still the OC at the time. They were still able to score a lot. It's just the defense with D'Onofrio just couldn't stop nobody, kind of like last year's Miami team couldn't stop nobody. And
yeah, it's interesting on that too, because even we talking about the defenses and Heatherman coming in, and like I say, Heatherman, he looked first couple of games looked good. He's going to be challenged.
He's very animated. He's very into the team.
Yeah,
on the sidelines, he got these dudes playing. It's a clear 180 from last year.
Right.
It's a clear.
Yeah, it definitely is. I agree with you there.
It's a clear 180 from last year. And like I said, I want to shout out the coaching staff and the defensive line again for recognizing screens and bubble screens and not biting on the quarterback. And the way Scott and Bain and Mesidor fan out when they see them linemen fan out, and if they can't disrupt it, they at least there to make the tackle. Oh wow.
That's interesting. It's the best O-line since 2013 and 14. Duke Johnson had 952 yards in 2013 yards rushing, and in 14, 1,652 yards.
That's a fair argument, Mr.
Yeah, Deuce,
that's a fair argument.
Yeah.
He did miss them games at the end. That's a fair assessment. They had some decent lines. Like I said, man, I give Al Golden his credit, man. He with the stuff he had to put up with. I think people looking back now, I think people would have to reassess and reevaluate Al Golden. He was not a bad coach. He wasn't a bad person. He had a lot of stuff to deal with, internal and external.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the one year they had to forfeit. He went 6-0 in the Atlantic in the Coastal Division that one. I forgot what year that was. I think Duke was on that team. They went 6-0. They lost their games to Atlantic teams. Clemson and them.
Mm-hmm.
When they was in the Atlantic, Florida State, but when they played all their coastal teams, they went 6-0.
Right.
But they didn't go to the ACC title game because of the sanctions and all the crap. Everybody remember with the NCAA dealing with all that crap?
Yeah.
Waiting on them to make a decision. And then they found out they was messing up on their own. And he had to deal with a lot, man. So by the time Clemson came and beat the crap out of him in that last game before they let him go, man, you could tell the man was spent. He was emotionally and mentally done. And I don't think they made it very easy for him. But at the time, I think there was a lot of internal forces, too, that was keeping Miami back.
Yeah, and it all starts with money. It starts with money, because if the coaching staff is not getting money and the money not behind them and the boosters not behind them.
All that stuff going on, and Shalala was still there, and all that stuff going on with what had transpired before he got there with the sanctions and the scholarship losses and just the rules, and just it was a lot of stuff that man had to deal with. So, but hey, those were all the building blocks that led up to today. Remember, Al Golden hired Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal was part of his staff for several months before he resigned and joined Nick Saban.
Right.
And once he joined Nick Saban, that's when Bama went on that little run for a few years of getting a lot of South Florida players and getting a lot of big-time linemen. And they had their trenches together. If you go back to them Bama teams, that was Mario. Mario was his chief recruiter.
Right.
So that was his tap into Florida, especially South Florida.
Right.
He was getting all the big-time linemen. So I knew, something told me then, I said, when he left to go there, I said, you know what? I told you before, I said, this is going to pad his resume. I said, all he doing is building up his resume. I said, if he ever come back to Miami, he going to take everything he learned from being on the Alabama coaching staff on how they do things, the way they did things, the strength and conditioning, the discipline, and all that. He took it to Oregon. He was successful in Oregon.
Right.
He won two Pac-12 titles in the Rose Bowl out there.
Yeah.
And when it was time for him to come home, we knew he was going to come home. We knew he was going to come home and take some lumps And he did.
Right.
5-7, 7-5, 10-2.
2. Yeah.
Okay, now they talking. Now it's nice to hear him saying Miami a national championship team. They already talking like this.
Now, how do you feel about that? Because we talked about that about a couple of hours ago. Do you think, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to preface this question like this. I've spoken to some of the people that's inside the organization. I've spoken to Alex Dono, which you know. I've spoken to Solinger. I've asked both of those guys this question. Do you think that Miami is a national championship team? Both of them kind of, Alex said he think that we can get in the playoffs and maybe win a game, but he think if we was to play, and I quote, Ohio State on a neutral field, we're kind of not ready for them yet. Coach Solinger said that basically they got the building blocks. So I don't know if that's saying that we are. You know,
I would
it's
have
different
to
now.
be more with Solinger than Dono because the season is early.
Right.
Miami is the most complete team I've seen, both sides of the ball. Okay. They are one of the most dominant teams in the trenches. You need that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ohio State is very dominant on the defensive line. They still got some things to work out on the offensive line. As far as Ohio State is concerned, we're going to see what they all about when they travel to Champaign on October.
Illinois.
They go to Illinois, and if Illinois keep winning, it's going to be like a game like what Georgia Tech got with Clemson right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a dogfight. We'll see. I think as each week goes on, Miami's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not prescribing to this Miami going to lose one. I don't see anybody on the schedule that can match up with them and beat them. Now, I'm not saying they can't lose a game.
Right.
But I'm looking at week to week. I'm like, what team to me on their schedule do I look at like, man, I don't see anybody that can match up with them in the paint.
Mm.
Florida might be the only team they got some dudes on their O-line and on their D-line. But other than that, Florida State, you contain their quarterback. Okay. SMU don't scare me. Louisville, NC State, Pitt, Virginia Tech don't scare me.
Yeah.
I don't think they match up with Miami on the line. I just think if you just line up with them and just beat them up in the line, come the second half, they not Notre Dame.
Right. Yeah, true.
And Notre Dame was spent by the fourth quarter. They were spent. So imagine if this is Louisville or SMU. SMU showed me, like I said this early, but you had a 2-touchdown lead on Baylor last week.
Yeah.
And you nutted up and lost the game in overtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, they don't.
Hey, NC State struggled with Wake Forest yesterday. That was that yesterday? Yeah.
I just look at each week. This game is another big test for Miami. If they can win this game and win it convincingly, spread or no spread, dominate the game, you want to know. Now you're going into the next week. Whether Florida come in with a win off LSU, if they come in limping, you need to beat the snot out of the Gators.
Yeah.
And go into your bye week and rest up and then get ready to go up to Tallahassee, because that would be the game. If you do slip, that could be the game if you're not ready, which I think they're going to be ready.
Yeah, I think they'll be ready.
I think they're going to be ready. I've been telling you what I've been saying. As the team has ascended, so is the coaching staff. Dawson is ascending as a coordinator. He's not going to make the same mistakes he made last year.
Right, yeah.
Mario not going to make the same mistakes he made last year and the year before with timeouts and questionable calls. I know people mad. If you're still mad about the Notre Dame game, go see some therapy. Go see a therapist.
We got a question for you. It says, the only team that could beat Miami is Miami. What team we're talking about in that nation, in the nation? Yeah.
He's right. The only team that can beat Miami is Miami.
Yeah.
Period and point blank.
Yeah.
The only team that's going to beat Miami is Miami. And
Brock said Miami needs to impose their will on South Florida today. The D line needs to be fierce and relentless.
the O-line need to be fierce. Both of them, both sides, dominate the trenches. But like I said, on the defensive side of the ball, don't be so over-aggressive that you overshoot the quarterback.
Yeah, lose integrity, lane integrity,
Right.
gap
Mexico
responsibility.
and Payne have to keep containment until you get to the point where you know he ain't going to run. And he got to drop back and throw passes.
Right. Yeah. I think, you know what, the interesting thing, how you talked about how prepared that defense was for bubble screens and stuff. I think Heatherman's going to have them ready for some of the stuff that South Florida usually does. So it's going to be an interesting chess match with that area. Because, you know, it seems like a lot of stuff that had happened off of broken plays, because what he said he had in the Boise State game, he had 70 yards rushing. Matter of fact, between two games, he done led the team in rushing. I think
both games.
One game he was second rusher on the team because some guy broke a 40 or 50 yarder. But overall, between two games, he the leading rusher for their team. So that's I mean, that's not good when your quarterback is the leading rusher. Let's just say that much. You know,
So, I mean, like I said, shout out to South Florida. They got a good team. Damn, Oklahoma look like the Oklahoma of old. I mean,
yeah, really? Oh man,
it's Temple though. So,
well, yeah.
But they just need to play their game, man. Play your game. You prepared for them. You ready for them. Play your game. You ain't got to go out here and try to blow them out right away. I know that's not what they're gonna do. They're gonna probably come out and try to establish the run.
Right.
And if South Florida want to stack the box, okay.
Right.
Can you cover Malachi? Are you gonna forget about Elijah Lofton? Carson Beck. It's like I said, it's nice to see these dudes on CBS and ESPN and Fox and Bleacher Report and all these other outlets and these other YouTube channels where before the season they had them all losing to Notre Dame and what do their wide receivers look like and what the defense gonna look like, and now they know.
Right.
Now they all singing the praises reluctantly. This is the most balanced team. This is one of the most balanced teams. Carson Beck receivers, he got receivers now. There's no question about what the receiver group is. He got receivers. They catching the ball.
Yeah.
Getting separation. They're getting open. You played against arguably the best cornerbacks in the country, and look what they did. And Carson didn't do a whole lot. He didn't throw it. Go ahead, G-Tech. So play your game, dominating the trenches. You should come away with the win. And if it's an ugly game, Miami fans, don't come out here crying and bullshit. With this crap. I just want the W. I don't care. Get the win.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be an ugly game. It may start out as a fight at first because they're not coming in there to lose.
Right.
They're not coming in there to lose. They're not coming in to lay down. But I just think a couple gut punches and a punch across the mouth, they might
go ahead and fold on up.
Fold on in. You know, they might.
Yeah, right.
It might be the third or fourth round. A couple of them kidney shots.
Right. So what did you? We're gonna talk a little bit about. What do you think about? Or did you see what you wanted to see out of the Bethune-Cookman game? Like, what were you trying to see? And did you get to see what you wanted to see?
I wanted to see Emory.
Well, I did too. A lot of people get on. Look, before you even go there, I talked about this with several other people too. I said they get mad at us on here because we say we want to see Emory, and I get all kinds of DMs and stuff. We just seen enough of them and stuff. But I always preface this:
you didn't.
That goes down. You're not putting a freshman in if you're trying to salvage the season.
Feelings, fans, get out of your goddamn feelings. If Beck get hurt or something happen, we don't need Emory going in there with a limited playbook like he had against Florida State, like he had against Clemson 2 years ago. Remember, that was the Brashard Smith show.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense against these same jokers I'm looking at right now playing. Mm-hmm. Same team, Clemson's. And Miami won that game in overtime. I think this time around, if and we don't want that to happen, we want Emory to come back and battle for the starting job next year.
Right.
But if he had to come into the game, Dawson ain't gonna limit the playbook. He made some nice throws last week.
Mm-hmm.
He looked different in the game against Bethune. Granted, it is Bethune, but hey, it beats practicing against your own defense.
Right.
Get out there and let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
So now we want Emory to be ready.
Right. Because I think some people believe that, oh, well, if Beck happened to go down, we just need to throw in Luke Nickel, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on now, y'all being ludicrous now. So that's why I think you need to see him. Now, I do understand people's point that they wanted to see what Luke Nickel looked like against Bethune.
You did in the spring game, you saw him.
So I understood. I would have liked to seen him out there in the game.
I'm cool with that. I thought about it for a second, and I said, "Oh, Wisconsin got a touchdown on Bama. Nice." I said the same thing. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. No, you saw Luke Nickel in the spring. You want to see Emory. You want to see him. You want to see him in the fire. Bethune was playing, bro.
Yeah.
They was playing. You was there. I saw it. They was
Yeah.
playing. They didn't come out there to get just to lose. They was playing hard. All 4 quarters, they was coming hard.
Yeah.
So they got some athletes on that team. I wanted to see Emory and what he could do. And if Dawson would open up the playbook and let him throw it down the field instead of throwing some bubble screens, a little short shit, and just running and running. No, I want to see Emory sling that rock.
Yeah.
And down the field and see who he can hit. The team, I'm going to tell you what I'm supposed to concern is our second string O-line.
Yeah.
They need some more work. And Mario brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Some of his second string O-linemen, that second team O-line, Bethune was getting in there at Emory a little bit.
Yeah. Because he had the one where he got hit and he fumbled the ball in the air, and I think the lineman picked it up and ran it. Yeah. Yeah. Could have knocked him out the game because it was a nice hit he put on him. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed a little bit, you know, even though the second string, maybe some of them second string guys gave up a lot of yards, but they didn't give up the touchdown towards the end of the game. I thought they was going to give that up.
Shout out to the second string defense for holding.
Yeah.
Like I said, Bethune, look, man, Bethune got some Florida boys.
Yeah. Like 60 of them.
These are Miami boys, Gainesville, Jacksonville, Tampa, Tallahassee. These dudes, these are the dudes that didn't get on Miami team, or they didn't get on Florida team, or they didn't get on South. They decided to stay with the HBCU. Shout out to them. And they came to play. They got some athletes, dog.
Yeah.
They got some athletes on both sides of the ball. They're going to do well in their conference. I don't know if it's the MEAC or the SWAC, which one they in, but
right.
They're going to do well. So I ain't taking nothing away from Bethune or FAMU, either one of them.
Yeah.
Come to play. So again, some of our fan base, they be on that crybaby shit too much, man. They need to get off of that. It ain't like you played a whack ass Furman or from JUCO Community College from North Central Florida that you ain't never heard of. These brothers can ball over there at these black colleges, man. So,
and I think they also got didn't the kicker from Texas? I think he got a couple of field goals in too. I think he got one.
They let him get in there and get
they let him get in too. So I mean they spread it well.
Kickers, man, it's nice to have 2 kickers.
Yeah. I mean, that was interesting, you know. So a lot of guys got a lot of work. I said Bethune and FAMU rosters are full of Florida high school kids who played against
the audience in the back.
Yeah, it's full of them. High school kids who played on the FSU or Florida or Miami in high school roster, basically. Yeah. I'm gonna say I want to say they got over 60 of them, I believe, 60 kids on that roster from the state.
These dudes was from 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills after high school in the summer with the same cats that play on Miami team, Florida State team, or Florida team.
Yeah.
Okay. They ain't no bums.
Right. Right.
This was a good game for Miami. It was a good game in the second half for the second string dudes to get out there and get some of the third string guys to get some work in against some athletes. Instead of against each other at Green Tree, they got to go out there, and some of them did okay, and some of them, like Mario said, some of them we need to go back and do some work with them.
Yeah.
Mainly the O-line, because Bethune D-line was getting at Emory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mario want to talk to some of them kids later on.
Hey, you know Mario. He always looking. Hey, he always looking.
Fit the culture and make the grades. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I was a little shocked that, like you say, the pressure they was getting on. They were still able to run the ball pretty good, but far as passing wise, they just wasn't holding up a lot. Well, they didn't hold up as well as the first string. Phrase it that way.
Sure, y'all. We all would like to see somebody break a long run like back in the day between the tackle, a couple move like this, and he gone with a counter or a trap.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't run offenses like that. And defenses today are too good. Your linebackers and cornerbacks are too good. I don't think you're gonna see another running back like an Adrian Peterson or Mendenhall or McGahee. I just don't think you're gonna see running backs like that. Every team is by committee. They got 2 or 3 backs because they don't play the same type of offenses any longer.
Right.
Now, I would love to see the line we got play in the eye. I think them boys would eat in the 3-point stance, blast off, snap. I think them boys would eat. But in this day and age, they're not doing that.
Right.
So they coming up with different kind of ways for the running back to get you. If you see a running back break a long ass run, take a picture, write it down, and chronicle that, because it doesn't happen very often. It really does not happen very, very often, because most defenses are very good now. You don't have a lot of off tackle now, or a trap that's off tackle. We seen that back in the day.
Right.
All it takes is one move by the back, and you make the safety a corner miss, and he gone.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody left. But now when you in a shotgun and you hand it off, the defense already has a running start at you, and you don't have a fullback in front of you blocking. It's a little different. You can still run counter traps in the shotgun, but it's just different now.
It's different. You ain't got that big lead blocker, that big fullback blowing holes for you.
Right.
Getting up on them linebackers. It's just totally different. It's
a pass lead, like the NFL. It's a passing lead.
It ain't many teams that carry fullbacks anymore. Some may carry guys that like a tight end and put them back there as a fullback, but traditional fullbacks, going
bringing an extra lineman in, and then you giving it away.
Yeah, they're going away to the wayside.
What you gonna do now?
Right.
Unless you play action.
Right.
But we all remember how deadly the play action was out of the I formation to the tight end.
Right. Yeah.
Because Bubba Franks used to eat on that. Shockey used to eat on that. Winslow used to eat on that.
Right.
That play action pass to the tight end is there all the time. If you
run the power out, you could play extra pass to the back. You could play extra pass to the fullback. You could play, or the tight end. So,
but I digress. They don't do that. I'm not, Shannon Dawson got great offense. We saw it last year. I think it's going to be even better this year. It's
be more balanced this year. I think he has the ability to be more balanced this year, and that's why I don't get upset if, like you say, if Carson don't throw for 300 yards. I mean, we don't need that. If he throws 200, 250, I'm fine.
I don't want him to.
Right. Be balanced.
I'd rather Fletcher have some nice runs.
Mario Brown.
Lyle, if they all got 60, 70 some yards apiece, I'm good with that. Maybe 1 or 2 of them got a touchdown or 2. I'm good with that. That means the O-line working their D-line over. And you know what? In the fourth quarter, they're going to be looking like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Hands on their hips, gassed.
Right. What do you think the final score going to be? What do you guys out there think the final score going to be? Put it in the chat there.
They're going to come in scrapping. Unless Miami punch them in the mouth from the jump. I say something like maybe 35 or 38 to 13.
Okay. I was going to say 28-14.
You know,
So,
yeah, maybe they might get 1 or 2 touchdowns or a touchdown. They got Grammatica. You know, his daddy was Automatica, so
yeah.
they go. I think if they contain Brown, yeah, I could see a 31, 35 to 13, maybe 16.
Oh, man. Somebody deep water put 45-12. 45-12 which way? Deep water. You got to clarify because we might have some South Florida fans up in here, and they could be saying that's South Florida.
I don't think it's a South Florida fan in Tampa that got enough sense to say some shit like that. They ain't gonna score no 45 points, dog.
Oh, it said final score for will be paid. He says 48-13. Aaron has. So
Hey, I mean,
hey, I'm just hoping, like I said, this year, the reason why I think you won't have a lot of problems because the defense is a lot better than last year. Because if guys remember last year, or if you are betting guys, that Miami had a couple of 17-point spreads that they like inked out by like a field goal, So, but it was because that defense was so horrible, and not to harp back on that, but I think they didn't turn that around big time. So
this defense is, like I said, it's a 180.
Yeah.
From last year, y'all. This secondary is only going to get better. Somebody tried to say, I think on Instagram, Miami blew a lot of cover, their secondary blew a lot of coverages against Notre Dame. And I had to remind Guy, they only blew 2.
Yeah, that's it.
Motori let the tight end get behind him on that one long deep pass.
Right.
And then on that scramble.
And he slipped on that.
On that scramble play where he hit their first touchdown, the secondary broke down and dude was open.
Yeah.
Armando Blunt almost got to him. Then he made a little move, and credit to their quarterback for doing that. Other than that, they didn't blow any coverages.
Right.
Teams are going to throw on you.
They're going to get yards.
It ain't a team in history, NFL, high school, college, that's going to be complete lockdown on everything.
Right.
Okay, even the Ravens and the Buccaneers got thrown on.
Right.
Okay, so ain't nobody gonna be totally locked down.
Right.
But
right.
if I got, if you're gonna give up some plays,
right.
It's gonna happen. It's just when it come down to the money downs, 3rd and long.
Yeah.
What's scary about this team and about Florida State with running quarterbacks and a Clemson on 3rd and long. You got a quarterback that can run.
They can run. They can get that yardage. So you got to have that spy on them, or you got to either zone up where you can keep eyes on them.
And you got the right defense. For example, in the first half of the game with Clemson, it was 3rd and 22 for Clemson. Where Georgia Tech had 3 down linemen. What did they do? They gave the ball to that big 230-some pound running back, and he made one move to make a linebacker miss. And guess what? They got the first down.
Right.
Because you went into a prevent defense worried about Klubnik throwing the ball when they was really just running to set up for a punt.
Right.
But the Tech played the wrong defense.
Yeah.
He ended up getting the first down. One move and he had a first down.
That's crazy. Got Swarm to the Storm. He says 35, Miami 10. You got Brandon. He puts up 41, Miami to 9, South Florida. And then we have Mike that puts up Miami 28, South Florida 17.
That's a close one. That's close.
Yeah.
That's not covering the spread, and that's not. I think the over under is 56.
Yeah, I didn't look at that.
I think the over under in this game is 56.
Yeah.
So I think Miami can cover the spread. Whether it goes over or under. It might be under 56. Miami might beat them, like I said, 35-10. That's under.
Right.
They got a decent defense. They not coming in there to lay down. They played Florida tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
They got holes in their secondary.
Yeah, he said that scramble wasn't really a blown coverage. But the back just lost. I don't think
it was coverage. I just think it was Miami's secondary collapsed on old boy that was running the quarterback, and it left him somebody just forgot about him. I
Yeah,
think
you just didn't pace. You got to pace those receivers.
they mentioned the corner that did. Damn, how they get all the way down there again?
Yeah, you got to pace those receivers when they start scrambling, and if you don't, then you have guys that just break in at the back end of a scramble. I mean, I hate to say the word "it happens," but it happens. So it's hard to hold up.
Listen, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
The last time I seen the secondary that Miami had that was that good, that when a team got in the red zone, that they pretty much kept them out was the 0-2 team.
Mm.
With them boys was like when Tennessee broke that long run, they got Neyland Stadium going crazy, and
right.
They forced them into a field goal because Antrell Rowland them wasn't having it.
Right.
They wasn't same with Florida. They got down there and he threw that pick, that 99-yard pick to my man. He a police officer now down there in Fort Lauderdale. I forgot my man's name. He plays safety, the other safety spot with Sean Taylor. That secondary was elite.
Right.
He still gave up pass plays, but that was an elite secondary. The way they got in the red zone and they kept Florida out with Rex Grossman, and they kept Tennessee out. I remember specifically them two games down there, and they couldn't get in.
He said he don't see it going over 56. I don't either because I
don't think it may not go over 56.
I don't think so because the only reason I'm gonna say it won't go over 56 is I just think Miami defense is better. So for it to go over 56, you would think that South Florida would have to score more to push it.
Right.
So
I just don't see it unless it's late in the game and Miami's so far up that they got the second string defense out there again. They want to see what they can do. I just don't see it being a super high scoring, but I could be wrong, man.
Yeah.
They might be so prepared for this team and so locked in on South Florida. This team is different, man.
Yeah.
They're not looking ahead. I think they on a mission, man. And like I told somebody today, they was mentioning all the best, who's a Heisman hopeful, and I just mentioned in the comments, I think Carson Beck wants a national championship more than he wants a Heisman trophy.
Yeah. And I think the best compliment to this team is what I heard earlier today talking to Coach Don was that this running back room, he says, that they have now reminds him of the running back room back in the early 2000s. And why did he say that? He said because they're not scared to compete. He said this room that they got now, and they just spoken to these guys personally, like competing. They understand that they have to compete.
Yeah,
something that we talked about starting out.
Don had a really good running back room, going even back to 97 and 98 when he had James Jackson and Najee. Clinton Portis was a freshman. He was a freshman in 99. 98, he had Najee and James. So, and Jared Payton was a freshman, I think, in 98. And James Jackson was a bad dude.
Remember, they had to move Najee to fullback. That's what he talked about.
And before Najee blew his knee out in that kickoff classic at Ohio State, that game in 90, that was 99. That was 99. That was Portis' freshman year. Najee was the fastest dude on that team. This big dude was the fastest dude on the team. He was probably faster than Santana, they were saying. It's the fastest. He had moves. You could see it. If you go back and watch that kickoff classic against Ohio State, Najee was nice. Najee was nice. It's amazing how they was able to get all these running backs like this. You went from Jackson to Davenport to Portis, McGahee, Gore, and it just, dude, that's ridiculous.
Right.
That is absolutely ridiculous that you get all these cats, man. And so I like our running backs.
Yeah.
I would love to see how they would look in that type of offense. We won't get to see it.
Right. Won't get to see it.
I would love to see Fletcher and Lyle in the eye.
Right.
I would love to see that just to see how they would look because they probably would look just the same as them, man.
Right. And the most important part, like we said, they not scared to compete. We've been talking about this for months. We need guys that's willing to compete. You can see it at the wide receiver positions.
We should be happy because remember, remember, and I forgot about Edge. Edge last year was 98.
Yeah, Edge, yeah.
Portis was thinking about leaving. He didn't before he got there. He said he was contemplating coming to Miami because he was talked to James. He said, "Well, if you come back, I might go somewhere else." And that's when Portis told him, "You don't come to Miami for that. You come to Miami for the competition."
I think he told me James was thinking about leaving too. He said he had to talk to his mom at one point when he first got there. He was thinking about leaving.
James Jackson.
Yeah. No, James Jackson.
Because they had to play behind Edge.
Yeah. He was thinking about it.
So, you know, that team in the late 90s to 2000, they had the same thing this team got now, the competition. Cats ain't wanting to transfer out because they're not getting what they want. I want to leave. I'm not getting to play and blah. No.
Right. It's just a different mentality. And we talked about the loyalty. We don't know if we'll have that now, but I'm like you. I just feel there's something different with this team. And it's the reason why you want coaches to come back that understand your culture. So with Mario coming back and instilling, you know, his culture, the old Miami culture into these guys, you can see that it's kind of no nonsense. Kind of like, hey, you know, it's one game at a time. We got a mission to do. We finna come in here on Saturday. We're going to do what we got to do and what we supposed to do, and we're going to get on out of here. We ain't going to talk a lot. You know, we're going to talk on the field, and it is what it is, you know. So that's what I really enjoy, what I've seen out this team the first 2 games.
He got these dudes locked in, and he got them with the right mentality.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. We got the game kicking off in an hour and a half. Guys, we're going to wind up wrapping this up because I got to watch some college football. We wanted to tap in.
Northwestern finally scored. It's 34 to going to be 14 to Oregon. They was playing hard at first.
Who was that?
Northwestern and Oregon.
Oh, yeah. Northwestern was going, you know what that is. But we're going to tap in. We might tap back in and see what we're talking about after the game. If it's interested, if not, we're going to see you guys next week. But until then, it's all about the U. Take us on out, E.
You enjoy the game, y'all. Watch it, analyze it. We get the win. Be happy with the win. Don't come back with all that.
All right, before we get out of here, let me see. Florida next week?
Gators prime time next week.
All right, guys, we're going to have some Gator people on this panel next week. So we're going to have a debate section. We're going to bring them on. We're going to chop it up. Tell your Gator fans, if your friends, if you got some Gator friends, to tune in, lock in with us. And we're going to have a good spirited debate next week with some Gator fans.
It was hot out there today.
Yeah.
It's hot in St. Louis today. I think it was 95, 96 today. What we got here.
All right, we up out of here, guys.
Great. Enjoy the games today, y'all.
All right, now.